Good night. It's the 11th of September. I've been out on the tractor all evening there and it's very cold. It's very, very cold, bitterly cold. I have a scarf now, first time back. But I just kept it on me. So I'm just in a different house here where there's good broadband. And lucky enough, I got my 3 videos downloaded this evening and a good response there and all. Generally positive. Indeed, if anyone feels I could improve the site, and I always ask them, I'm willing to do it. Now, one of the things, I go back to this thing about Enoch Burke. Why people say our neutrality is more important. Well, sure, we can deal with that. Just because I'm not on neutrality or on one viewer's subject all the time doesn't mean it can't be dealt with. But we have a man in prison. And I believe he's completely innocent. And that is very wrong. You look at the hubbub was over the Guildford 4 and all these IRA lads and suspected IRA lads and all of this. And there's nothing for Enoch Burke out of Radio Television Sheridan or anything. But I remarked one very important post. I mean, I think this channel, its great merit is the posts underneath. It's a discussion forum. It's better than one of those internet anonymous forums. They are anonymous, but I know the minute I read them whether they're genuine or not, and that's good. But the thing about it is there was a post there anyway that actually if Enoch Burke had to comply with the directive of the school to call the boy they, like in the school, and there might have been an excursion maybe somewhere. Do you know the way schools goes off and they go up to the zoo or they go to some mineral factory or making lemonade or something. And if he had that boy here, there, if he was sorting them out, he'd have to say, he couldn't say, give him his lunch. He'd have to say, give they his lunch. So he'd have actually been a proposer of the gay agenda, of the woke agenda. He'd have been a gay rights campaigner. He'd be more than just a teacher in the school. He'd have to use that pronoun all the time. And nobody would probably tell us at what stage would this boy cease to be called they, or what age would he be ceased to be called they. So do you see the point I'm making? And this was made by a viewer here. It would have, and I can't go back into it because I'm recording on the same phone. My computer's not working. But the thing is that Enoch Burke would now, if he had to go along with that, be part of a promoter of this stuff. That's what he would have been. Now, what would happen if he had to go along with it? And then this year, there's a bit of an event coming, as they have in the schools, and they bring in a drag queen, usually a man in his 60s with a pot belly, and he dresses up as a drag queen, and he's usually gay, and he's bi and transsexual and trans this, that and the other, and he's this, that and the other. And I have to emphasise again, it's live and let live with me. I never got too much involved with the gay people. I don't like to see them bullied, but just go on and do your thing and don't be annoying me about it is my attitude. But what would happen if they had to be bringing a gay man down to that school, a drag queen, and if Enoch Burke was expected to shovel the young boys over to him so that they could put their hand up the leg of his trousers, or up the leg of his shorts. So he'd be wearing shorts and he'd be all dressed up in all colourful stuff, and the boy would be expected to put his hand up the drag queen's inside and feel his genitals. Well, I saw that happening on a video, whether it's true or false, in America. So at what stage would Enoch Burke be entitled to say, well, I can't go on with this anymore? At what stage? That's the question. And I claim that once the school leaves the general purpose for which they exist, and that is to provide education in accordance with the Department of Education's curriculum, which in Ireland, for those who don't know, is English, Gaelic, Irish, mathematics, geography, music. Religion is on the agenda as well. I'm forgetting one or two things, civics usually, and history, the usual things. Anyway, there's a curriculum set out by the state in most countries, And in Ireland, we have always had a very good education system. But the thing about it is that at what stage do they bring in a whole new ideology? And if the ideology is to be calling boys they, and is the promotion of homosexuality among the young, if that's to be the agenda, why not have it for the Green Party? Why not instruct all youngsters that the Green Party is the best party and that they should all be green when they go up? Why not start? There are lecturing them on climate change. I say that's a hoax, but that's neither here nor there. So at what stage does the school cross the line between the duties they have to look after the kids and educate them and have an internal disciplinary system to deal with all the breaking of the rules? I claim they're not entitled to do that. They're not entitled to bring in the LBGP stuff, to force teachers to call the boy they or she or anything else. And they're not entitled to make a boy put his hand up on an old man's or a mature man's leg and feel his genitals, or vice versa, a lesbian woman or whatever. They're not entitled to go that far. That is not within the remit of the school. And therefore the disciplinary proceedings of the school do not extend to this. And when the Wilson Hospital, Williamstown, it's the Wilson's Hospital in Westmeath, when they began to make that rule, when they made that rule, they crossed the line. They were bringing in something totally different, and they had no jurisdiction to hold an inquiry for internal discipline whatsoever. That's how I'd argue that case. That is how I'd argue it. And I'd say you wouldn't be long into it in the Supreme Court till you'd have the opposition on the other foot. I don't think it'd be too hard to argue it. And this is what I say. I don't want to put Enoch Burke to the expense of doing this, but I think that those who support this is wrong, and it's happening in our country, and I'm delighted to give my support. He could be an oddball. I don't know anything about him. I don't know what he's like at all. But the thing is, this is wrong. They have no right to hold that. They acted beyond their powers. Ultra-vires, ULTRAVIRES is the term for it. If a person joins the guards and the regard, there's a stiff disciplinary system in the guards. They appoint chief superintendents and all that. And there's an inquiry, and there's a sworn inquiry. And the sworn inquiry is big stuff. The general small inquiry might be for something else. But if it alleges a crime or a guard stole a mobile phone or something, then, for stealing in the guards, you could be sacked. So that would be a sworn inquiry. And they then will send the facts over to the Director of Public Prosecutions. And the Director of Public Prosecutions might prosecute the guard. So supposing the guard is found in possession of drugs, illegal drugs, that would result in an inquiry. Well, a file would have to go to the law officers, as they call them, the Director of Public Prosecutions, as to what should be done with the guard. Will he be prosecuted? So you think of Enoch Burke's case. He failed to call a boy they. Could you prosecute him? You couldn't prosecute him. There's no crime of prosecuting him. He didn't commit any criminal offence whatsoever. He was doing the job of teaching quite good, according to what I hear. So I believe the original judge, or whatever happened there, I don't know the exact mechanism, got it wrong. And an application for habeas corpus brought today and argued in that way, in the right way. And I think if you brought the order for habeas corpus, the judge of the High Court might well order his release until it's dealt with. I think that's the case. Now, people might say he refuses to go away from the school. He was banned from the school. But the act of banning him was unlawful. It was unlawful. He didn't break any rule. It's constructive dismissal. Giving him his pay is proof to his constructive dismissal. If they didn't give him his pay, it would be full dismissal. But giving him his pay is an acknowledgement that they're not right, that they've made a mistake. If he did wrong, why not to stop his pay? No, I think there's a real good case there. I think there's a good case there. I don't know, is there anyone? I won't have time. I'm just too busy to set up a fund and get the barristers on that. I know a good junior counsel who might do the job, and I'd get a solicitor, but I don't know what senior you'd use. It's well worth the run. And then that would taint all the orders made against him as illegal, all the orders for costs and all that. Comment underneath. I know most of you are not that smart, don't know the law. I know the law, inside and out. And they don't like it. And I have cows. Don't forget, I'm a farmer with cows. That'd be a very cogent case. You'd want a good team enough, not an expert team, to argue those points. The internal disciplinary situation in the Law Society, in the Garda Síochána, in the Irish Army, in the schools. These are quasi-legal courts, and they're entitled to sit on areas within their own expertise. And you will not break their decision unless on a point of law by judicial review, which is an equitable remedy. You will not overturn their decision, provided that they comply with fair procedure, provided good procedure, good notice is given. And that's as it should be. I have no problem with that. So, how can a school carry out a disciplinary inquiry and make rules for Enoch Burke for calling a by day contrary to the rules of the school? How legal are those rules? How are they legal? And when you argue then that if you extend this rule to call a by day to offering to give children to drag queens to feel their genitalia, then you can see that the school has no right to insist on that. And that they actually are trying to force Enoch Burke to be a proponent for all this LGBTQ, gay, lesbian and all of this. That's what he's expected, because he would be expected not only to do it, but to put his spirits behind it, to follow the ethos of the school, which is now changed from a Christian ethos to this. I think that's a glaring case. Needless to say, I don't think anyone will do it, but that's how I go about it. Thank you very much. And that now should put it to bed. I think I have covered everything there. I'll put that to bed now, and we'll go on then and do something else. But thank you very much for your interest. And you notice it never gets any word on RTE. There's been no debate or anything else. And it's not sub judice. We're quite entitled to talk about things which are a matter of great public interest. This is great public interest. This affects the fellow working in the hardware shop, because if you work in a hardware shop as a shop by there, the management do have an assessment of you. If you do something wrong and you're breaking good, valuable property in there, you're letting things fall, there comes a time when they have to act on it in some way. Do you understand? So there's nobody in employment who's outside some type of control. Some type of control. Can you imagine if I get a contractor here, and I use contractors to do all the heavy work, you know, the big heavy tractor work and all that, and if a fella comes here to bail me silage, and he's a lad of 32 and he's working, and he comes up, he's sent up, because a lot of the contractors just hire fellas for a day or two, depending on the need. And supposing he comes in and he while he's talking to me, he says, well, I'm actually gay. I have a gay partner, a boyfriend and all the rest of it. It's nothing to do with me. He doesn't have to tell me. And if he does tell me, my job is to make sure he does a good job of the bails. And if I go out and I look, oh, they're good bails. Bloody good bail, I tell you. One thing to make a good bail. That's as far as my power goes. I have no right to dictate to him what he does with himself at night or anything else. Does that make sense? We'll see you back, folks, for something else. Good luck, and thank you very much.